This week on Instant Experts, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth bans beards in the US military.
Thank Christ he didn't ban them in Congress. There are an awful lot of Republicans in the closet.
And not just in Congress, Honky, in Wisconsin. This week's sex scandal goes out to the cheeseheads.
And the Lee family is in this one all the way up to the he, she, they.
And in sport, our mercifully brief preview of the NRL Grand Final.
And our tragically brief preview of WWE Wrestling.
Oh, Honky, I prefer real sport. Welcome back to Instant Experts, Fat Generals Edition. It's all the latest news explained by idiots. Here to keep you sane in a crazy world. I'm Henry Lee, and as always, I'm here with my dear friend, the Honk. Honky, welcome.
Henry, my dear fellow, a pleasure to be here. And yet again, what a week. We say it every week. It's a show about crooks, fuckwits, and morons. And I think we just have to thank them because they are so good for business.
They are. Last week's episode was another barn burner. What caught your eye this week?
Look, I wanted to begin this week by poking fun at the usual hypocrisy of these holier-than-thou right-wingers, you know, always caught in these perverted sex scandals, until I realized that story is in fact very personal to the Henry Lee family.
Well, I appreciate that you're not going to talk about it out of respect to me.
No, fuck that. We're totally going to talk about it. We're going to do a whole segment on it later. But what I do want to start with now, though, is a very, very important meeting.
Right, a very important meeting. How did you know it was a very important meeting?
Because I was accidentally copied by Pete Hegseth into a Signal chat entitled, "Please come to a very, very important meeting."
But wouldn't that be a security breach, Honk? Like the one where he told the journo they were bombing Yemen hours before they actually bombed Yemen?
Great question. You would think so. But this time the Signal chat just included a link to a Donald Trump Truth Social post, which was also called Very Important Meeting.
Right. So it was public that this was a very important meeting.
It was public to the point of being performative.
Well, that's very cynical, Honky. I mean, how could you possibly accuse a former Fox News host of being performative, especially when he was hired by Trump exactly for that reason?
And the blowjobs, do not forget the blowjobs, which are, of course, part of the job description for all Trump cabinet members.
They all form an orderly line and bring a Viagra for granddad.
Yeah, one each. And then together, when you pull those Viagras, you might be in luck. But we are speaking
20 minutes out of him.
Tops. We speak, of course, of the meeting the White House advertised last week.
That's right. The very important meeting with very important people.
And specifically the one called by Pete Hegseth, the current US Secretary of Defense.
And also, Honky, the secretary of fucking the secretary.
Henry, a bit of respect. He didn't fuck his secretary. He fucked his producer.
I apologize. She was fucking her secretary, i.e. him. The old casting couch strikes again.
It sure does. Hegseth, just to recap, famously fucked his producer at Fox News, a woman named Jennifer Roche, I think it's pronounced, when his wife at the time, Samantha Deering, was pregnant with their third child. And in the traditional style, Hegseth knocked Jennifer Roche up immediately as well, which from memory is how the affair became public a year later, because he ended up having children born in 2016 and 2017.
Oh, right. The old Irish twins, except different mothers.
Except different
mothers. I can say that because I am Irish. Now, question is, was Sam Deering his first wife?
What is it? Are you on this show or not? Obviously, she was not his first wife. Deering was his second wife. His first wife was a woman named Meredith Schwartz, on whom he cheated 5 times at least that we know about, including with Samantha Deering.
Right. So he married Meredith Schwartz, cheated 5 times, married Deering, had 2 kids, cheated on her while she was pregnant with the 3rd kid with Jennifer Roche, and then knocked up Jennifer Roche.
Yeah. And he also made time to squeeze in some sexual assault allegations in 2017 at the California Convention for Republican Women.
Oh, the Convention for Republican Women, that's class. On the other hand, given Trump's record, it does seem to be official Republican policy to sexually assault. So maybe that was just towing the party line.
He did deny the allegations, Henry, which is, of course, why he paid a financial settlement and made the person to whom he did nothing sign an NDA.
Sorry, I jumped to conclusions. Nothing says I did nothing like an NDA.
Nothing says I love you like an NDA.
Let's not talk about the thing that I didn't do. Anyway, back to the very important meeting, Honky.
Yes,
very important people.
Yes. I'm sorry. With the very important people. So last week, Hegseth summons all the senior commanders of the US military. So generals, admirals, more generals, I'm out of titles, no matter where they are in the world, on ships, overseas bases, you name it, first time it's ever been done. No one coming to the meeting knows what the meeting is going to be about.
So it feels big. It feels like we're invading China or
Russia or Iran or something. It's got to be huge, though, right, to bring in all the top brass.
Everyone from Brigadier General up and their key advisors. So 800 plus people. That's a lot of money and time.
Well, the estimate I've read is cost $6 million, so about Aussie $10 million to bring the meeting together. And it's a huge security risk, of course, because you've got the whole military leadership in one place, which is usually strongly discouraged.
Although, to be fair, Honk, they were meeting at the headquarters of the US Marines, so they were probably pretty safe. I mean, it's not like they were meeting at a high school where they could be shot at any second. Or university campus, for that matter.
That's right.
So anyway, what happened at this meeting?
Okay, first we'll take you through some of the hard-hitting agenda items for the meeting. Significant cultural shift in the military, emphasising a return to traditional values and, quote, a warrior spirit, reintroducing policies to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI programs, implementing stricter physical and grooming standards, including bans on beards and long hair, to use the highly appropriate phrase of a true professional like Hegseth, quote, no beardos.
Right.
Rebranding the Pentagon as the Department of War, in brackets yet again, although, as we've talked about before, it's really only like an alternative phrase, and the Department of Defense is still formally called the Department of Defense, not the Department of War.
Right. I thought it was formally called the Department of
War.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What is he good for?
Of course. My apologies.
Now, Hockey, I did read about the DEI stuff, and in fact, we've talked about it on the show before because Hego's been on this bandwagon for a while. Episode 5, we talked about him sacking the 4-star general who ran the Air Force, who just happened to be a black guy. And he also, in the same week, sacked the most senior woman in the Navy, who was an admiral, because she might have been of the female persuasion.
He said that all hiring from now on would be on merit.
This is from a bloke whose highest rank in the military was major. 5 or 6 from the top at least. And it was in the National Guard. It wasn't in the Army, it wasn't in the Air Force, it wasn't in the Navy, it wasn't in the Marines. The National Guard is one above the Coast Guard. Now, he did do 1 year of combat, so give him credit for that. He was in Iraq as an infantry platoon leader. But basically, he only got the job, as we said, as Secretary of Defense because he is a suck job who was on Fox News. He's the least merit-based hire as Secretary of Defense in my lifetime by a million miles.
And don't forget, he got in by the skin of his teeth. He was confirmed 50-50 by the Senate. And the only way that happened was that BJ Vance, the Vice Prostate, had to cast the deciding vote. He also served a year guarding detainees at Guantanamo Bay, and I think you know what that means.
Raphael.
Hey, I mean, I was thinking torture and breach of human rights, but it also gets lonely.
I was thinking about Diego, the Venezuelan gang parent.
Fair enough. It does get lonely in an all-male prison at the tip of Cuba.
You use the word tip advisedly.
Do you know, by the way, and I discovered this today, which is pretty horrifying, Hegseth was banned from standing guard at President Joe Biden's inauguration because Hegseth's own fellow troops reported him as a security risk to Biden.
Did they really?
But you're right. I mean, least qualified Secretary of Defense ever. He was later, as we've also talked about on this show, boned from 2 veterans organisations that he worked for financial mismanagement, including misuse of funds for personal expenses, excessive alcohol consumption at organisational events, i.e. drunk on the job, inappropriate behaviour, including fostering a hostile work environment and mistreatment of female staff members, sexual misconduct, including the alleged sexual assault in 2017 we already mentioned.
Right. So this is the guy saying hiring must be on merit. I mean, he oozes merit like he oozes wild turkey on a Monday morning.
We should hear a snippet of the magnificence of Hegseth's performance.
If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force. Frankly, it's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
So basically, Hego brought in all these generals and admirals, 800 of them from all over the world, to say, have a shave and harden up, you sad cunts.
To a bunch of officers, as you said, all of whom have achieved a massively higher rank than this bum ever did.
Right. So how did that go down?
The whole speech. Oh, you have to have a listen to the reaction. I mean, he got him there in the end. Listen to this amazing, rousing finale.
Move out and draw fire. Because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Room, attention.
Oh, Honk, that sounds like it got the reception it deserved.
Then, if you can believe it, the whole special meeting got worse because Hego was just the warm-up for the main act, the Commander-in-Chief.
Ah, Trumpy, Commander-in-Chief when his bone spurs aren't troubling him too badly.
Yes, the noted draft dodger from back in the day. Trump's speech was quite something. And if you thought they loved Hegseth, the reaction Trump got, the crowd loved him. Listen to this reception.
I've never walked into a room so silent before.
The man spoke for 44 minutes. We've said this a few times lately. He clearly now is genuinely losing it. He's trying to talk up Dan Raisin Kane, that is Dan Kane, Trump's appointed chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Have a listen to this.
I hope you all agree. If anybody disagrees, could I please have your hand? Who disappears at Raisin Kane is no good? Just raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised. All right. That means you're okay. That means that he's okay now, but I saw his result.
He sounds, Trump, like a drunk at a party.
He sounds like Pete Hegseth after lunch.
Did you notice Trump said disappear when he meant to say disagree?
Although in Trump's world, when you disagree, you do disappear. So it might have been a Freudian slip or even deliberate.
There were plenty of other highlights. Trump managed to complain in his 44 minutes about quality of the paper used in the White House.
What?
You know, when I have a general and I have to sign for a general because we have beautiful paper, the gorgeous paper, I said, throw a little more gold on it. I want the A paper. We used to sign a piece of garbage. I want to use the big, beautiful, firm paper. How would you like to have that where some kid sitting in the back office is having it signed with an auto pen? And I sign it. Actually, I love my signature. I really do. Everyone loves my signature.
Then he rambled on about the way Obama used to walk down the stairs out of Air Force One.
What, too quickly? Too successfully?
Not just too quickly. Apparently, according to Trump, Obama bops.
Don't bop down the stairs. So one thing with Obama, I had zero respect for him as a president, but he would bop down those stairs. I've never said, da-da, 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 bop, bop, bop. I said, it's great. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it, but he did a lousy job as president.
Might as well just say, blacks are very rhythmic people and be done with it.
And then he had his very own special idea, which he chucked in about how the army can stay in shape militarily between wars. And Trump's pitch was they could do that by invading American cities.
Like he's doing in Portland, Oregon.
What is the problem there exactly?
Too many craft breweries, too many bands.
It's too many bands, right? But the problem is when you're forcing American servicemen to take up arms against their own countrymen, you could end up with like a Vietnam War style fragging problem. Troops retaliating against the government by joining those bands. I mean, these lineups could pose a massive national security threat. Just think about it.
Yeah, if it's a big bands, it'd be like, what, Allman Brothers, Parliament, Funkadelic, Tedeschi Trucks, 16 bass players, 37 drummers.
Yeah, 148 backing vocalists. The other thing we have to highlight in his speech is Trumpy's assessment of the war in Ukraine. This was truly staggering.
But that's turned out to be the toughest one. I'm so disappointed in President Putin. He should have had that war done in a week. And I said to him, you don't look good. You're 4 years fighting a war that should have taken a week. Are you a paper tiger? It's a shame, but I think...
What? So he's saying Putin should have won the war in a week. What is he thinking? Who's he going for?
He sounds like he's chastising his kid. Oh, Vlad, I'm very disappointed in you. Maybe Vlad doesn't get his bonus from Donald this year.
Or maybe Donald won't get his bonus from Vlad, Honk. Thought about that.
That's serious. But to tie this all together under Hego's supposedly new standards, no fat generals, everyone's got to pass their PT test. How do you reckon Trump as commander-in-chief would go? The guy eats McDonald's non-stop. He's about 500 kilos overweight.
Surely on that analysis, you can't be commander-in-chief. Otherwise, he's not leading by example.
Unless, can the run be 2 McDonald's? I assume no, right?
A Macca's run, I reckon.
Yeah. So assuming it's not a Macca's run, then anyone can do okay on the compulsory elements except Trump. But Trump distinguishes himself with the section for artistic expression, doesn't he?
So what are his signature events, Honk?
He does the pussy grab.
Of course.
He does the pull-up.
Oh, he can do pull-up?
No. The pull-up as in the nappy. The idea is you've got to get out of one pull-up and into the next pull-up in less than 7 seconds, or before the bowels evacuate again, whichever happens first.
You really got to make the 7 seconds.
I mean, you're in combat conditions. There's also the emergency civilian evacuation.
Is that for the White House staff if he misses the 7-second changeover?
Yeah, the entire White House staff. And then, of course, there's the obstacle course.
How on earth is Trump going to do an obstacle course, Honk?
No, you don't understand. Trump sets the obstacle course. So the way it works is new recruits are promised a full copy of the Epstein files. Then Trump puts every object imaginable between them and the Epstein files. The ones who give up looking for the Epstein files the quickest get a guaranteed spot in Trump's cabinet.
I'm glad you mentioned the Epstein files. I'd nearly forgotten about them, even though it's protocol to acknowledge them in every episode. They are, after all, the traditional owners of the president.
And that, of course, I'm sure is why Hego called this very important meeting to start with, to distract again from the Epstein files.
On the upside, Honky, there are no fat people in the Epstein files.
Well, except for Trump. The rest were all under 18, to put it politely.
Indeed. Okay, Honky, time to do some shout-outs to listeners. As we do every week, we have loyal listeners all over Australia, of course.
Any Darwin?
Well, it's funny you asked that. Last week, I made a mess of pronouncing that name of the town in the Cotswolds.
That's Cirencester.
Yes, well, it's the one spelled Cirencester.
That's what I said. It's pronounced Cirencester.
Well, our listener got in touch and said it's pronounced Darwin.
Was she also a Nigerian princess with a surefire investment scheme to sell you?
Well, it's funny you say that. We have the opportunity to buy a beautiful stone bridge in the Cotswolds.
Is that right near Darwin?
Exactly. Honky, we've also got listeners all around the world, regulars, of course, in the UK, in places like West Malling in Kent, Maidstone, also in Kent. We're big in Kent, and Brent, which is not in Kent, although Brent in Kent would be cool. Kent is not in Brent, nor is Brent in Kent, to my knowledge. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with
it. Anyway, the US, in LA, New York, and Seattle, and plenty of listeners across Canada as well, from Ottawa all the way west to Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Is there something you want to tell us, Honk?
No, I know what you're talking about. And also, I was lonely, okay?
And the location of the week, Honk, is Italy, with listeners tuning in from Milan in the north all the way down to Palermo in Sicily.
They love the show, capiche?
Thanks, as always, for your company.
Thank you, too, we should say, to regular listener Chainsaw Pete, who texted us this week about last week's show to say, fun ep this week, great coverage of Escalator Gate. That's the escalator that broke down at the UN. And then he said, you guys really know how to speak to the common man with that riff on private boarding school fees. By you guys, Henry, he means you, because my own son doing year 12 this year is at a public school.
Well, Honky, you make it sound like you're doing me a favour by allowing me to pay for my child's schooling and for your child's schooling.
Hey, private schools are taxpayer subsidised too.
So I'm paying for my school with fees, my school with my taxes, and your school with my taxes. I hope he's enjoying Che Guevara High or wherever the fuck he's attending.
They don't serve caviar in the tuck shop like your joint. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to use the money I saved on school fees for my younger boy to book tickets to WWE Crown Jewel next week in Perth, to which I'm taking my other son.
Is that the one that did 8 years at Sydney Grammar, the posh private school?
First of all, shut the fuck up. And number two, the caviar there was extremely good.
Smart too. Now, Honko, we cover a lot of US national politics on this show, and fair enough too, because it is important and it's in total chaos. But to keep things interesting, I know that you like to try something a little bit different now and again.
Don't we all? I mean, you can't just keep doing the same thing for 30 years.
No. And of course, politics has all sorts of subcategories with, and I'm not judging, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff.
No, I frankly think you should try more of it. I think you'd like it.
And one of your particular interests, or can I even say fetishes, Honky, is quite niche indeed.
Sorry, how do you know this stuff about me?
Well, Honky, I've managed to acquire your search history on politics.com. How I did that is not important, but you've gone right down the tabs list, haven't you?
Hey, you said you're not judging.
I'm not. I actually had a little stirring myself when I saw this one.
Don't fight the feeling, Henry. Become the real you.
Okay, well, I'll just say it. I got so excited when I clicked on the tab marked Gubernatorial Politics of Wisconsin.
Well, I mean, you're only human. Who doesn't get excited about that? Wisconsin has beer. It's got cheese.
Got the Green Bay Packers.
It's got the Green Bay Packers. And the word gubernatorial is a thrill every time we say
it. So now I'm transitioning into this community, Honky.
The lovers of gubernatorial politics of Wisconsin, you mean?
Exactly. Wisconsin governors. Give it to me, baby. What is happening in the gubernatorial race in Wisconsin for November 2026?
Well, Wisconsin is traditionally a swing state. It has a Democratic governor, a Republican Congress, and a US Senate seats that are split between the two parties.
So it swings a lot.
It swings a lot. And the Democrat governor, a former teacher called Tony Evers, has announced that he will not be running again. So it is on like Donkey Kong to take the guy's spot. And on the Republican side, there are three guys who've been angling to be the Republican nominee for governor. One of them is a guy called Bill Berrien, a Harvard MBA, the CEO of a local manufacturing company, and a former Navy SEAL.
Well, he sounds like a good candidate, Honky.
Yeah, well, you'd think so, except he's a Trump guy who's been running as a supporter of family values, and he's been very critical of transgender people in the opening stages of his campaign.
Obviously, I don't support that ethically, but surely that would appeal to his MAGA base.
The problem politically, Henry, is not that he's criticised transgender people. It is that it turns out he is a follower online of a transgender porn star.
I love it.
Yeah, so now that's come out, so to speak. The guy has had to drop out of the race,
The gubernatorial race.
the gubernatorial race.
Well, it's always the same with these Republican guys, isn't it? The more they talk about family values, the more freaky shit they're doing in their spare time.
Totally. Like it's like church on Sundays and then gloryholes.com every Saturday night. But the kicker this time is that it's one of yours.
What do you mean, Honk?
I mean, a family member of yours.
Honky, I am not aware of a Lee family member involved in Wisconsin politics.
What about a Lee family member involved in gender fluid performance art? Because the person that Bill Berrien has been caught following, which is why he's had to quit the race, is a non-binary porn performer called Jiz Lee.
That's bullshit. You are making that up.
I swear to God, I'm not making that up.
Well, Honky, if that is true, I just want to say that the Lee family is a broad church in which everybody is welcome. And I've got to say, full credit to Jizz for their entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, building a business is not easy, and Jizz has built a clearly very successful business online. And I've got to tell you, Jizz, we're proud of you.
You're rooting for him, her.
We're rooting for they, Honky. Get
Most
the terminology
importantly,
correct.
but I apologize. By the way, if you don't believe us, you can email them. It is Jiz. I'm not making this up. It is Jiz at jizzlee.com. But my other question, though, is there another Australian connection? Does Jizz have any association with the well-known Jizz Fashions to be found in Sydney at the Central Station, the train station?
Honky, again, you are making this up. There's no way there's somewhere called Jizz Fashion.
You sent me a photo of it, and you can Google them. It is a real shop.
I don't remember that at all. Are they still there?
Are they still there? Jizz Fashions, business has erupted. Explosive deals. They release a deal several times a day. Wherever you look in Sydney now, all you see is Jizz.
Let me guess, it's the brand on everyone's lips.
Look, I can't speak for everybody, but I know myself. I don't leave the house now if I'm not wearing Jizz from head to toe.
Okay, well, you do you. But that does bring us back nicely to Republicans in transport. And it turns out that Wisconsin's Bill Berrien is not the only one into it. Oh, there's an outfit called lawsuit.org.
What a great name.
It's a great name. So a couple of years back in 2022, lawsuit.org saw all the anti-LGBT legislation being put forward across the US. They counted 300 bills across 36 states. And a bunch of those were anti-trans bills proposed by Republicans. So they decided to see what was driving it.
Was it a case of the ladyboys doth protest too much?
Pretty much. So what they did was scrape 3 weeks worth of Google searches and cross-check by area and voting patterns. And specifically, they looked at searches for the terms she-male, tranny, femboy, and ladyboy.
I'm no statistician, Henry, but is 3 weeks of data actually enough?
Well, that doesn't sound like much, Honk, except that was over 3 million searches. They get over 1 million searches a week.
For the terms she-male, tranny, femboy, and ladyboy. Who was doing the searching?
So the top 10 most transgender porn-obsessed states and metro areas in the US in 2022 were, wait for it, Texas.
And that was what? Republican?
Georgia.
That's a swing state. Yeah, yep.
Kentucky, Republican. Missouri, Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas, Republican. Virginia, Democratic. North Carolina, Republican. Illinois, Democratic. Mississippi, Republican. And Tennessee, Republican. It's basically 70% Republican, 20% Democratic, and 10% swingers.
At least 10%.
As we've said many times on the show, Honky, all this Republican anti-LGBTQI is just a cry for help.
And just because you hate yourself doesn't mean you need to hate everyone else.
Indeed. It's live and let live, which is a core tenet of the raging centrists that we are on this show.
As opposed to the self-loathing hypocrites of the Republican parties who are what? Live and let die.
Or just let ICE beat them up so Stephen Miller can jerk off to the videos.
Look,
imagine what he's into secretly.
I do think, though, you're being a little bit hard on people like Bill Berrien because he might just be an appreciator of quality cinema. Now, let's just be fair. You're a talented guy, Henry. It's clearly in the family. You've got talented kids. You've got a talented wife. What's to say other members of the family, the Lee family at large, are not talented people? Why is it impossible that Bill Berrien couldn't be into some of Jiz Lee's films? You look at the titles of these films, and I only read a few. I had occasion to look them up. I didn't have them to hand. Here we go.
As I said earlier, I'm not familiar with Jiz Lee.
Yeah,
or
now
their
just be
role
clear,
in the
you haven't
Lee
say,
family tree.
You say you haven't heard these film titles before, right? Not at a family gathering, nothing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Tale of a bondage model with tail spelled Tail. Then there's So Close You Can Taste It. There's Art House Sluts. That's a good one. 19-person orgy gangbang. I don't know what that one's about. And my personal favorite is Fuck Styles of the Queer and Famous.
Which one's Bill Berrien's personal favorite, do you reckon,
It's
out of
gotta
those ones?
Got to be Fuck Styles of the Queer and Famous, surely.
So there's Wisconsin politics, all the latest. You heard it here first. Time for quick shots, Honky, and we should start by mentioning the news this week that Trump has proposed a 20-point peace plan.
You were referring, of course, to the announcement that Nicole Kidman and her country singer husband Keith Urban are getting a divorce.
No, it wasn't actually, but I did see that Keith had filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences.
Yeah, it's code for he's found someone else who's agreed to touch it. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe this, Henry. But he's 57 and she's 25 and she is in his band.
How handy. Pete Hegseth style. Where's my secretary? Oh, that's right, under my desk. It's an interesting divorce, though, because I think you told me there's a prenup clause nicknamed the cocaine clause, where Nicole Kidman has to pay Keith Urban something like $1 million a year for every year he stayed sober from alcohol and drugs. And they were married for 19 years.
That's all
real
true.
money.
To which I say, where's the justice? What about our Nick? What does she get for doing 19 years with him and never once telling him his hair is ridiculous and his music absolutely fucking sucks?
So, Honky, sad about Nicole and Keith as it is, the 20-point Trump peace plan I mentioned is about Israel and Gaza.
Is point one stop shooting each other?
I think it's take a break from shooting each other so you can warm up for stopping shooting each other permanently. But as we said before about Trump, even a busted clock is right twice a day. So it's early days, but it seems like he's on the right track because the whole West, including Australia, not that I trust Albo on anything related to the Middle East, has signed on. And the major Arab states have signed on.
Yeah, and in fact, the biggest sign I would say that it's a great idea is that the vast majority of Israelis and Gazans all support it. But Israel and Hamas, who control Gaza, who have both signed on, are already behaving like total fucksticks.
Yeah, that's right. Netanyahu, who co-announced it with Trump, says it can't lead to a Palestinian state, which is kind of the point of the whole thing.
Yeah. And Hamas's political wing has signed on, but says it has nothing to do with Hamas's military wing in Gaza, which has refused to surrender.
Now, I'm Irish, as you know. That sounds exactly like the old IRA days where Jerry Adams, who was head of Sinn Féin, the political arm of the IRA, would say, I've never been in the IRA. I've never even heard of the IRA. I've got nothing to do with the armed wing of the IRA that doesn't exist. And when I had a Guinness with O'Shaughnessy last night, which he and I both deny having, I said, please don't put a stop to the violence. So I can say, I can't put a stop to the violence.
And while he was saying it, there was this ticking noise. I don't know what that was.
Indeed. I'll go get the next one. I'll get the next round in the next pub. I just have to go down the street about 400 meters.
Oh, but don't take my car. Don't take my car. Somebody else.
Yeah, best to walk.
Yeah, best to walk. The best thing, though, who knows how it's going to go? As you said, Henry, it's early days. But the best thing for me about all this is Trump, when announcing the plan, has taken the opportunity to bust out some of his biggest hits.
Favorite one of mine is a lot of people are saying, he's not saying, a lot of people are saying, are a lot of people saying something about Trump?
Yeah, of course. A lot of people are saying, he's not saying he's great. Everybody else is saying it. And I'll give you this. The guy's almost 80 and he is not out of steam when it comes to these hits. This is one of his greatest performances of this hit. You've got to have a listen to this.
To ensure the success of this effort, my plan calls for the creation of a new international oversight body, the Board of Peace, we call it, the Board of Peace, which will be headed not at my request, believe me, I'm very busy, but we have to make sure this works. The leaders of the Arab world and Israel and everybody involved asked me to do this, so it will be headed by a gentleman known as President Donald J. Trump of the United States. And we'll have a board, and one of the people that wants to be on the board is the UK former Prime Minister, Tony Blair, and it'll be quite the board. Everybody wants to be on it now. I don't know if that had anything to do. They named me, and everybody else wanted to be on it, I guess.
Well, that is right on brand I should be in charge, and now Tony Blair wants a piece of the action. He wants to come on the board because I'm there. What a
fuck knuckle. But in Quick Shots this week, we also wanted to introduce a little thing that we may come back to. We like to call Cunt of the Week. Now, Cunt of the Week with a bullet this week surely would have been.
It's the subtext, isn't it, that makes this segment special.
What are we trying to say? Now, Cunt of the Week this week with a bullet surely would have been the quality individual who on Thursday...
No pun intended, I hope.
The quality individual who on Thursday drove into a pack of worshippers outside a synagogue in Manchester on Yom Kippur, holiest day of the year for Jews, killed at least 2 people, severely injured 4 more, including by stabbing them, and then proceeded to send the entire UK into a terrorist threat lockdown.
What happened to him? Did they shoot him?
Yeah.
Oh, is he eligible for Cunt of the Week? Don't you have to be alive?
Yeah, I think you probably do. Yeah.
To get the prize?
You do
have
to
a ceremony and stuff.
Yeah, you've got to be alive. But the living number one is still good. The prize goes to this guy. You won't believe this is a true story. Prize goes to a building contractor from Washington State in the US. Get this guy. He hired a bunch of workers he knew were illegal immigrants. He got them to build and finish a house. And when they were finally finished, he called ICE on them, had them arrested, so he wouldn't have to pay them.
What? Is that true?
True story. Cunt of the Week, we salute you.
God, that's horrendous. But it does bring me to a quick shot that I'd like to mention. And we've talked about on the show before the many uses of the word cunt in Australia. It's beautifully summed up by one of my favourite songs from the Aussie band Tism. And I've mentioned it before, and it's called I Might Be a Cunt, but I'm Not a Fucking Cunt. And we've found somebody who's made the point in real life, perhaps even more brilliantly. This is a young Aussie guy in England. I think it was in Manchester before a Manchester City football game. And he's being interviewed by an American guy who's clearly trying to draw him into a racist conversation about non-white footballers in the English soccer team. Have a listen to this.
Would you rather have an all-black national soccer team that wins or an all-white English national team that loses?
I mean, as an Aussie, like, mate, is what it is. Like, you get the win, you get the win. Ain't about colour, boys. Ain't about colour. It's all about getting the win, mate. So,
do you think a black guy can be English?
Of course, mate. Yeah. Like, I've only been here 2 months, and like most English fellas I've met, the black fellas, mate. Like, they're good boys. Like, is what it is.
What about Indians? Can an Indian become an Australian?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We got heaps, mate. You ever been to Sydney?
Nah, not yet.
Nah, look, like, you know, it's at the end of the day, like, it comes down to this is my analogy, right? If you're a good cunt, you're a good cunt. If you're a shit cunt, you're a shit cunt. Doesn't matter about skin tone, mate.
Martin Luther King could not have put it better, could he? Gandhi, Mandela, no one. And you know, I'll tell you, using that beautiful parlance, you know who else is a good cunt, Henry? You.
Well, I might be but I'm not a. That's all I'll say. But
what am I?
Well
am I a good cunt or am I a shit cunt or a good cunt?
You might be and you might also be a. Who could say? It's too early to tell. Okay, Honky, surely it's time for sport. And the big event this week is the NRL Grand Final on Sunday.
Does anybody give a fuck? I mean, there are no Sydney teams in it.
Well, Melbourne Storm fans care, and there are a lot of them where I live. Brisbane Broncos fans really care.
Yeah,
Rugby League is the national religion of Queensland, and the Broncos, the biggest club in the NRL, have not won for nearly 20 years. They last won the year after the Tigers did, Honk, and that's, as we both know, a very long time ago.
Look, all I can tell you is I am focused solely on the WWE, on the wrestling. And as a fellow Tigers fan, surely you should be too.
You really are going to Perth next week for the wrestling, aren't you?
Of course I'm going. It's going to be the sporting event of the year. Do you have any idea? It is John Cena's last ever match in Australia. You're going to have Rhea Ripley, Australia's great Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
She's going to be...
All right. All right.
That's all I get, right?
I think that's all we have time for. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, find us in all the usual locations, especially TikTok and Instagram. Please share us on your socials, WhatsApp. Rate us in the Apple Store in particular. It helps us out when you give us 5 stars. Spotify, if you're that way inclined. Check out our show notes. Honky likes to talk about the show notes and blame me for all the dumb jokes.
You can send us a text. I would never do that. How dare you? You can send us a text from our show notes. That's like the rundown of everything which is in the show, wherever you get the podcast.
Chainsaw Pete, he did that.
He did. You can get the rundown.
Criticizing me.
Criticizing you. So from the show
notes.
He
might also be
Do I get to talk about the show notes or not? You can send us a text, like you said, from the show notes. We'll read it on the show, like you said, about Chainsaw Pete. Send us a voicemail direct from those show notes. We'll play it on the show. You can read our show notes for even dumber jokes. Now, you've just asserted that I always say they're written by you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this week they are written by you with assistance this week from Jiz Lee because there's been a huge drop in user interactions this week for some reason for Jiz Lee. I've got no idea. Their time freed right up.
Well, as I said, we'll be back next week at the usual time of early Saturday morning, Australian Eastern summertime, because the clocks change this weekend.
They do. Now, we usually like to finish, as listeners will know, with some audio of particular crookery, fuckwitticism, or Morona, Hegseth, paedo, wild turkeyosity.
So this week, what have you got?
Look, it has become a bit of a cliche to associate Donald Trump with Hitler, and we didn't really want to go there to do the Trump-Hitler comparison until, that is, we came across this piece you're going to hear a segment of from the stand-up Shane Gillis. Now, he's well known for doing a very good Trump impersonation, but his take on Trump and Hitler in this sketch you're going to hear a bit of is truly special. So thank you for your company. Back next week, because as Henry always says,
Taylor Swift's new album is a corker.
Jesus.
Is that what you meant? Diary of a Showgirl? In stores now? No? Oh, Stupid Never Sleeps.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid Never Sleeps.
We'll be back next week because, as Henry always says, stupid never sleeps.
We wanted to make a movie about Hitler, his rise to power, and then his inevitable demise. Studio loved it.
But we couldn't find anybody in Hollywood that would play Hitler. No one wanted to risk their careers. We did find one person.
They didn't have anyone to play Hitler, so they called me. The studio called me. They said, Donald, could you please get us out of this?
He sent me 27 voicemails.
Hello, Lauren. This is Donald Trump, and I can be Hitler here. Watch. Bad Jews. Not good. Lauren, it's Donald again. If I need to be naked in this, which Hitler was, he was naked quite a bit. I do have a guy as a replacement. He has a big piece.
He took a perfectly good script, and he improv the whole thing.
Look at the size of this crowd. We've got a lot of Jews here.
I don't think he ever read the script.
That guy right there, he's a Jew. No, I'm kidding. Don't get him. We could do something about the Jews. I might not, but we could. We've got big trains, beautiful trains. We could get them on there. I didn't like all the Jew stuff in the script. If I was to put anyone on a train, it would be Crooked Hillary.
I wanted Hitler's failure as an artist to be part of his evil origin story. But then, when I brought that to Trump, he said,
Art is gay. Adolf Hitler was gay for doing art. I don't do art, I make money.
It was the worst set I've ever been on, ever.
We're going to round up the Jews, and what we're going to do is we're going to ask them for some advice. We're going to say, please help. We need your help with our economy. Right now, our economy's low. We need it big. We need big economy. We need...
He got rid of Eva Braun.
And Hitler's girlfriend, I don't know if you've seen her, if you've seen pictures. Not good. She was a bit of a dog. Let me tell you something. I've got a new Eva Braun, and she's hot. Bring her out. Eva, come on. I had just got done eating a waitress's pussy at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I said, wow, you should be Eva Braun. Look at her. Look at her. Am I right, people? I met her at my restaurant, Hitler's. I just opened it. You guys should stop by.
He started a fake restaurant in a movie. And then made a commercial for it.
Wow, Hitler's. What a fine restaurant. We've got chicken wings and whores. What else is there? Don't attack Jews. Instead, drink brews. That's what we say. Isn't that funny?
This was my shining moment. I need the Holocaust.
Oh, he said he liked the Holocaust.
Not that I would need it to have happened.
You seem to be very eager for Holocaust, Crybaby Goebbels.
I'm not a crybaby. I'm not a crybaby.
Joe, Crybaby Goebbels is a huge pussy. All he wants to do is a Holocaust. Could we get rid of this guy? I've got a couple people's numbers. We could call The Rock.
He wanted the movie to be, he never kills himself, he's good, and eventually he helps the U.S. defeat Japan. I said, fine.
The United States called. They said, we like what you're doing here. They said, can you help us end this war with Japan? So I called Japan. I said, Hirohito. I said, you better slow down. He told me, we'll never surrender. That's how we'll never surrender. I said, I bet you do. That's what I said. Sure enough, the next day, I bombed the shit out of him. We literally harnessed the sun and threw it at them. Amita's in Japan. We hit them with the sun, and let me tell you, they didn't like it. They were running around. Maybe now they'll get their act together. Maybe they'll stop using swords and start building VCRs.
2 a.m. I think Hitler should eventually become president of U.S. because Truman begs him. You know he would. Truman was pussy. LOL.
My work here in Germany is done. I am taking the position of President Hitler of the United States. Thank you, and good night, Nazi Germany. I was the best president. I was the best Hitler. We've got great wings, some of the best wings, medium, mild, hot, genocide. We've got sluts everywhere. I'm the best president Hitler.